During the Second World War, Nazi Germany was known for its increasing larger and heavier tank designs. It started with the Tiger I, a 54-ton tank, a monster, effective but expensive and time-consuming to produce. Then the Panther, a medium tank that weighed 44 tons. After these came the King Tiger, or Tiger II, at 68 tons, and this machine was the largest tank to see combat action in World War II. This tank was virtually impregnable to any Allied tank or anti-tank weapons. But these were not enough for Nazi Germany, so the designers went a step further and started work on the Panzer VIII, or Maus. It is the heaviest fully enclosed armored fighting vehicle ever built. 5 were ordered, but only 2 prototypes were ever completed, before the testing grounds were captured by advancing Soviet military forces. This tank weighed 188 tons, making it the heaviest tank ever built. The man behind this design was none other than Ferdinand Porsche, and the project was approved by Hitler in 1942, who was an advocate for bigger and heavier tank designs. Its first name was the Mammoth, but in the end it got the Maus name instead. In 1943, a mock-up made out of wood was shown to Hitler, and it was designed from the start to use the electric transmission design which Ferdinand Porsche had used in another tank prototype, which was his unsuccessful attempt to win the production contract for the Tiger. By May 1943, a wooden mock-up of the final Maus configuration was ready and presented to Hitler, who approved it for mass production, ordering a first series of 150 units. The Maus was 10.2 meters, 33 feet, long, 3.71 meters, 12.2 feet, wide, and 3.63 meters, 11.9 feet, high, with a track of 1.1 meters wide. Its armor was 220 millimeters thick in the front, 200 millimeters on the sides, and the rear had an armor of 150 millimeters. Just to understand how thick this was, the Tiger I had a frontal hull armor of 100 millimeters. Its main gun was a 128 mm Krupp gun, and it was powerful enough to destroy all Allied armored fighting vehicles in service at the time, with some at ranges exceeding 3,500 meters, 3,800 yards. Besides this, it had another secondary 75 mm gun. The Maus was intended to punch holes through enemy fortifications in the manner of an immense breakthrough tank. While taking virtually no damage to any components, with a weight of 188 tons, the Maus was unable to use most bridges, so instead it was intended to ford to a depth of 2 meters, 6.6 feet, or submerge up to a depth of 8 meters, 26 feet, and use a snorkel to cross rivers. The first working prototype V1 was finished in December 1943, with a mock-up turret fitted of the same weight as the real turret. Only in June 1944 did the V1 receive its production turret, with armament. The V1 had a Daimler-Benz petrol engine with 1,080 horsepower. In March 1944, the second prototype, the V2, was delivered. It differed in many details from the V1 prototype and started tests in September 1944, fitted with a Daimler-Benz diesel engine with 1,200 horsepower, new electric steering system, and a Skoda-designed running gear and tracks. There was also a special railroad carriage made for transporting the Maus prototypes. In March 1945, both prototypes were at the Kummersdorf testing facility. At the end of the war, V2 was blown up by the Germans, so it won't be captured by the advancing Soviet army. V1 was also destroyed, but it was in a better shape than the V2. The Soviets decided to make one complete tank out of the 2 destroyed prototypes, and ordered the hull of V1 to be mated with the turret of V2, but this turned out to be a problem because just the turret weighed 55 tons, which is more than a whole Panther tank. In order to achieve this, they used 6 18 tons half-tracks, the largest of Germany's half-track vehicles, to pull the 55-ton turret off the destroyed hull. The resulting vehicle was then sent back to the USSR for further testing at Kubinka. At the end of the testing, the Soviets didn't agree with the design, and today the tank is on display in the Kubinka Tank Museum in Russia. Thank you for watching, and please don't forget to subscribe.